Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. Thanks for joining me as usual. We are doing the new releases for November 15th, 2024. There's a lot of stuff. I think next week is going to be even bigger. So we're heading into that Christmas holiday season and a lot of stuff. So let me just give some notes here at the beginning because I want to try and keep this moving along. First of all, we did get more of the Cure's album in the new Cure album, "Songs of the Lost of a Lost World," of the Lost World, a Lost World. It's a great album. Yeah, first time I heard it, I was like, well, I think it's good. I don't know if it's Disintegration good. And then I'm like, as the songs sort of started warming to me, I think I realized like this is probably the best Cure album since 1992, probably, whenever Wish came out. I mean, I did like Blood Flowers too, and I even liked Wild Mood Swings, I'll admit that. But definitely the best Cure album this century. Uh, it's not super long, but the songs are just so heartfelt and moving and emotional, and the arrangements are great. And I think the production is interesting. What I was going to point out here was my original copies of this that I got were the indie store versions, which were allocated, so we only got a few of them, and they were on gray, like a gray marbled vinyl. This one is black. The interesting thing is that there's also a half-speed master edition that's a 2 LP version, and that is only available online. And from what the sort of reviews going around are saying that, first of all, they're done by different mastering engineers. The half-speed master, the double, and the indie store versions were both done by Miles Showell from Abbey Road. And this version, the black vinyl version, was done by Bernie Grundman. It's kind of odd to have different mastering engineers doing the same album upon release. And I believe even the European Miles Showell might be different than the American one. I don't know. There's some sort of difference of opinion on certain things, but there are multiple versions of these things, and I'm sort of hearing that the half-speed master double is almost like not the favored one. People are saying the black Bernie Grundman might be the best sounding of all of them as far as like the presence of the tone and everything. So anyway, we have more of these. So End Song, one of the best songs Robert's ever written. So, and songs about his losing his brother, his father passing away. It's a heavy album, but beautiful record. So another thing, last week I showed Talking Heads the vinyl box for Talking Heads 77. I don't know if I showed the CD box. This is the CD Blu-ray edition, which is this nice sort of book format. The vinyl box runs about 150 bucks, and it has 4 7-inch singles in it. This one sort of streamlines things. It has 3 CDs and a Blu-ray. The CDs include the original album remastered from the 2-track analog master tape, rare and unreleased demos, singles, and outtakes. That's disc 2. Disc 3 is the previously unreleased October live CBGB show from 1977. They were sort of a house band at CBGB, and that was I think the last show that they did there, one of the last shows. And then Blu-ray, which is the Dolby Atmos mix, the 5.1 mix, and a high-res stereo. And then the 80-page hardbound book has rare and previously unseen photos and new liner notes from the band members and Ed Stasium. So it's very nice too. Maybe you're more CD-ish on that and want to save a few bucks, so just putting that out there. Okay, New releases for this week. There's a lot, guys. So I'm gonna start with the big box set first. Gotta get it out. All right. First thing up, George Harrison, Living in the Material World. This has been talked about a little bit for a while. Don't have a lot of these in stock, so if you're going to want one, you're going to have to let me know, and it'll probably go on back order at this point because they don't have a lot of them at the warehouse either. And it sells for around 180, 70, 100, 180 bucks. Dark Horse Records, George Harrison, Living in the Material World, 50th Anniversary Edition. Super Deluxe, 2 LPs, 2 CDs, a 7-inch and a Blu-ray with Dolby Atmos, 5.1, the high-res surround and stereo mixes, new mix by Paul Hicks, featuring previously unreleased studio outtakes and demos, 60-page book, and day-by-day recording notes. So this is one of people's favorite George Harrison solo records. If you're going back to like early years, Try Some Buy Some is on this. I think it's sort of seen as like maybe, I don't know, people really liked Brainwashed, his last album too, but probably second or third behind All Things Must Pass. So this is a pretty big box set though, but there, you know, it's funny, it's like a big set. I don't know, there's not a ton in it, but it is very nice. And if you're Beatles fan, Harrison fan, you might be wanting that. The other box set that of note, they do have that, by the way, on a shrunken CD format. Like I think it's a 2 CD in a little box for around 30 or something in that range. The other box this week, Dave Matthews Band, listener supported. This was a live record that one of the many live records that they put out, but one of the more sort of prominent official ones. So this is a little box. Again, we don't have a lot of these right now, but there are some more available at the warehouse. This is the first time on vinyl, surprising, listener supported, the 2 times platinum album, a 4 LP live set featuring Crash Into Me, Stay, Jimmy Thing, and more. What year did this come out? Oh, 99 was, it was actually recorded East Rutherford, New Jersey, so not far from here. Anything else of note? Not really. Ends with Don't Drink the Water, which was actually a Dave solo song, and All Along the Watchtower. So a little bit more into the career, but the band was pretty strong at that point. Firing on all cylinders, as they say. All right, other new albums this week. Linkin Park, their new record, From Zero. This is the indie exclusive transparent or translucent magenta record. Vinyl. This is a gatefold edition. There's a sea blue one color that's just the regular edition that's a few dollars less, and it's translucent sea blue. Same tracks. I think this album is sort of anticipated. It had sort of a controversial rollout because of the change of lead singers. Partly because there's a change of lead singer, and the other part because it's a female instead of Chester has been passed away for a long time now. So, but there's been some family drama and whatever, and some drama regarding the choice. So, I don't know, maybe judge the music on its own merits. How about that? All right. So, new Linkin Park and From Zero. New Warren Haynes record. This actually came out a couple weeks ago on CD. We finally get the canary yellow color vinyl for indie stores, and it's the limited edition, the new solo album from the Grammy-winning singer-guitarist and Government Mule founder, featuring tracks co-produced with Allman Brothers legend Derek Trucks. It is a soulful journey through Southern rock. Derek Trucks actually appears on 3 tracks, I think, and as a player, and Lucas Nelson and Jamie Johnson are on here as well. It says there's an extended version of Find the Cost of Freedom. I don't know if the CD version is extended or not, but I don't have it in front of me. That's something to research if you're a fan of Warren Haynes. Oh, where am I going to put all this stuff? This is when it gets difficult. Okay, Gwen Stefani, her new record Bouquet, and she's really given off country image here. I don't know if that's the being Mrs. Shelton or what's going on. I don't know if the music is necessarily all that country. I mean, I kind of see that picture and I'm like, I'm not sure who that is. But you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I need to hear it. Exclusive colored vinyl featuring the song Somebody Else's and Bouquet. Oh, and there's a duet with Blake. Purple Irises. I don't know. When people start doing like duets with her husband, you know, I can't say that because like June Carter Cash and Johnny Cash, that's a marriage made in heaven, and their music sort of like complemented each other. Gwen coming from a background of ska pop and like dance pop, and I don't know. I guess that's where we are in 2024, right? A new JPEG Mafia record. Honestly, I cannot remember the name of this album, and nothing is printed on the cover. All you get is the cross and him looking sort of like a subversive, I don't know, kind of a terrorist looking picture. Anyway, JPEG Mafia, kind of a popular artist, I would say. So, what was the last thing he did? It was a collaborative album with Danny Brown. I think that was pretty popular. All right, Widespread Panic. So they have a new record out this week called Hailbound Queen. And the sticker says Widespread Panic's first studio album in 5 months. That's because 5 months ago they released Snake Oil King. So I think these two were basically, and this was their first record in a few years. I think they're supposed to go hand in hand. They're like two parts of a full album. This one has 6 tracks, this one has 5. Put them together, you got chocolate in my peanut butter and peanut butter in my chocolate. If you're old enough, you know what that's in reference to. Okay. New Burton Cummings album. Few Good Moments is what it's called. He's from the Guess Who and is still out there singing and playing. This album has something like 16 songs, and people who went to his recent show said he still sounds fantastic. So he's, I don't know, he must be 80 or so, pushing that, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, new Burton Cummings. New Dwight Yoakam. So if you're into sort of what was kind of the beginning of alt country, I suppose, or bringing back country, Brighter Days is the name of it. It says it features a song, I Don't Know How to Say Goodbye, Bang Bang Boom Boom, featuring Post Malone, and Wide Open Heart. So Post Malone making another appearance on a country record. It's neat how the name is embossed here. And this is also like 14 tracks, I think. So Dwight Yoakam, he's been around for 40 years or so making music now. Finally, sort of delayed release on this, Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings, their new album Woodland. Woodland Studios is where it was, I guess, recorded. Woodland is a new studio album from acclaimed Grammy-winning duo Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings. It was mastered directly from the original analog tapes through custom Ortophon amplifiers to a Neumann VMS 80 cutting system, featuring Emptied Trainload of Sky, Hashtag, and What We Had, 10 exquisite songs of loss and love from The Guardian, 5 stars. Yeah, they just keep doing quality work, and they don't do it very quickly. Wouldn't say that they're like, hey, here's an album every year or anything like that, but this one has 10 songs. So last song is called Howdy Howdy. So you probably know what you're in for there. All right, reissues. Iron Maiden, Power Slave. This is the 40th anniversary edition. Includes a 2015 remastered audio for the first time on vinyl, expanded artwork, and Power Slave at 40 notes from Steve Harris. The one thing it doesn't say, I don't think, is that I think it was like some kind of a zoetrope looking record. I don't know if it's a picture disc or a zoetrope, but it looked like it had a lot of gold imagery on the record itself. So be prepared. You might actually get some additional artwork with that. A new MF Doom reissue of the album Food. This is MF Doom, probably I don't know. See that? Well, either this or Operation Doomsday. Those are the two big ones. This is a new edition. This is the 20-year anniversary. Complete repackage with brand new artwork by Sam Rodriguez, pressed on 3-color Sweet Tart Marble effect double vinyl. Includes case wrap, tip-on gatefold jacket. As far as I know, I think the music is all the same. I don't think there's anything new with this version other than the cover art and the fact that, I mean, it might even be the same pressing because I think it's just the color of the vinyl that's different. It doesn't say anything about being remastered, but all right, a couple of jazz reissues this week. These look great. Thelonious Monk, Monk's Music. This is the OJC series, so you know you're going to get quality with this stuff. And this is remastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio, who does all of the Blue Note remasters as well. So if you get this is probably, I mean, I don't know, unless you get like Music Matters or Analog Production, whatever. This is probably going to be one of the best pressings, best sounding records of this out there. It was pressed at RTI, which I think most people kind of agree that that's the best or one of the best pressing plants in the world. And then another one this week, similar story, RTI, Kevin Gray did this, Blue Mitchell, Blues Moods. And Blue Mitchell, this one features Wynton Kelly, Sam Jones, and Roy Brooks. I didn't say who was on the Monk one. That one is Ray Copeland, Gigi Grice, Coleman Hawkins, and John Coltrane. And Wilbur, that name is cut off there. But yeah. Sorry, I gotta save these before they start falling. Two great OJCs out this week. Not like there's not enough to there's so much good jazz out there right now. You guys are lucky. If you like jazz, now's like the time to be a jazz fan. Blue Note this week. Blue Note Classic, Dexter Gordon, Getting Around. This features Bobby Hutcherson, Barry Harris, Bob Cranshaw, and Billy Higgins. This is the only one that we've gotten so far this week, so I don't know if I'll have to check and see if there was a second one, but there's usually two, so that's kind of interesting. I think there's a Duke Pearson coming next week. Maybe that's why they kind of got broken up or something. And then Bluesville, which is also made by Acoustic Sounds. Bluesville and the OJCs, I believe, are all done by Craft Recordings, which, again, one of the best companies. This one was pressed at QRP in conjunction with Acoustic Sounds. So this is Jimmy Reed. These are blues ones now. Bluesville is the label. Jimmy Reed's I'm Jimmy Reed, and this features Ain't That Lovin' You Baby, Go On to School, You Got Me Crying, Honest I Do, You Got Me Dizzy. So some pretty traditional blues stuff there. And these, again, are like really good pressings. Much better than like some of the like Wax Time and stuff that we've had before. So if you want to up your sound quality, Definitely, that's something to think about. The other one that came out this week is Reverend Gary Davis. I think he's also been referred to as Blind Gary Davis. Maybe they changed that because I don't know. On here it says Blind Gary Davis. So Harlem Street Singer is the name of the album. And he's a reverend because Reverend Gary Davis on guitar and vocals. This is the only person on this, so you're gonna get traditional sort of acoustic blues, and the same thing mastered at QRP acoustic sounds. These were done by Matt Lutens, I think, or Luthens, was the mastering engineer on those. So some other new music this week: the Coward Brothers. This is a kind of a like a movie documentary type thing from Christopher Guest, and it features Elvis Costello and T-Bone Burnett. And it says the Coward Brothers might be Elvis Costello and T-Bone Burnett. 20 of their wildest songs, including rock and roll classics such as My Baby Just Squeals, You Heal, Like Licorice, Early Shirley, and Pure Bubblegum, featuring tracks written for the Audible original radio play. Oh, so it's like a radio play. That's cool. The True Story of the Coward Brothers, directed by Christopher Guest. Limited edition licorice red vinyl, one-time pressing. So you get like a lot of Coward Brothers songs here. Let's see what else. The Devil's Wife, Tipsy Woman, My Baby Just Purrs, You're Mine, Not Hers, My Baby Just Whistles, Here Come the Missiles, I Don't Want Your Lyndon Johnson, Kathy Come Home, and Clown Around Town. Sounds like Elvis has been busy. And T-Bone, I'm sure T-Bone lets Elvis probably take the lead on some of that stuff. But okay, so you guys knew that Black Sabbath released that box set, the Anno Domini, a couple of months ago, and that did very well. So now they're breaking those up into separates. So you get Black Sabbath's Cross Purposes. Now these are the Tony Martin years. So you had Ozzy, then you had Dio, and this is like the years that people sort of forget about. Is it Tire? Never know how to say that one. Forbidden. And I think this one is a new remix by Tony Iommi. And Headless Cross. So there's 4 that you can get separate. They're around $26 a piece. So not bad. They're on limited clear vinyl, all of them. And there's lyric sheets and whatnot. So if you didn't get the box set, or you were like, oh, I just want to get 1 or 2 of them or whatever, now's your chance. Another person with a bunch of reissues this week, and I think there's one that's hasn't arrived yet. Might be next week, but Tina Turner, Acid Queen. So these are sort of 70s records. There's Love Explosion, which is kind of like a later 70s, and this one, Tina turns the I can't say it. Tina turns the country on. It's like a tongue twister. And this one is sort of a country flavored album, I believe. This one was half speed mastered at Air Studios. I think they all were, but for some reason this one is the only one with an Obi strip. This one features Help Me Make It Through the Night. Let's see, Acid Queen has Under My Thumb, Let's Spend the Night Together, Whole Lot of Love, so it's a little rockier, and Love Explosion has Backstabbers, On the Radio, Sunset on Sunset, Music Keeps Me Dancing, so a little bit more maybe dance oriented. I don't know. She was kind of like not having big hits at that time. She and Ike had broken up. She had to get away from him because he was abusive, and it wasn't until like the early 80s, so 82, 83, when What's Love Got to Do with It put her back on the map in a really big way. So R.I.P. Tina. A couple of great John Cale reissues this week. Paris 1919. So these are early 70s records, and The Academy in Peril. Academy in Peril is probably more, I would say, sort of experimental. This is remastered from the original tapes. It's cool that they did like cutouts of all of these covers to make them look like Polaroids that have a feel to them. And it's got Andy Warhol stamped on the bottom because he did the artwork for that record. And this one comes with a second record of extra tracks featuring I Must Not Sniff Cocaine and a few other bonus tracks. Fever Dream 2024, You're a Ghost, being one of them. So this is kind of more of an Americana kind of album. I think he did that right after he did Vintage Violence, and that was maybe the first or one of the first solo records after Velvet Underground. So John Cale is still out there making records in his mid 80s, and they're actually pretty vibrant and vital sounding records. So you might want to check those out. And then there seems to be these series of reissues this week. Magazine, so Howard Devoto's band. This is on Recoil Red vinyl with an interview inner bag. Not bad for new wave, says Whispering Bob Harris from the Old Grey Whistle Test. So Real Life is one of the albums. The Correct Use of Soap is another one. And Secondhand Daylight. I think there are more coming, but these are the first three in the series, probably three of the most popular. And they're all different color. This one is Permafrost Green vinyl, and this one is Philadelphia White vinyl. I guess for cream cheese or something. I don't know. Anyway, 3 Magazine records. A couple more reissues this week. Ringo Starr, Stop and Smell the Roses. This is a picture disc. And Ringo Starr's Old Wave, another picture disc. So these were out for Record Store Day before, but they've not been released on picture discs, and this is the one and only time. So for collectors, limited edition, only one pressing worldwide. This one features Paul McCartney, Ron Wood, and Stephen Stills. This one features Joe Walsh and Russ Ballard. And I haven't heard this record, but everybody who has, it was one that was strangely only released like in other parts of the world. I think it was out in Canada. And everybody who's heard it says, A, it's one of Ringo's best albums, and B, it sounds like a Joe Walsh album because Joe Walsh did a lot of the music for it. So if you like Joe Walsh, you might want to check that out. And speaking of those guys, Eagles, there's a new Don Henley reissue of Building the Perfect Beast. Sorry. Building the Perfect Beat. Let's see, that's the Go-Go's, right? Anyway, this is a sort of slightly expanded version of this album. The one that featured Boys of Summer. All She Wants to Do Is Dance and Not Enough Love in the World. It also has a couple of songs. After Sunset Grill, you get Driving with Your Eyes Closed and Land of the Living. I think maybe, I don't know if that's the original track listing. I thought there were only 10 songs, but maybe there were 12. Anyway, this is a double vinyl, so it's about $40. So all right, this has been out before, and it's just another reissue. Oh, let's see. This is Tedeschi Trucks, Layla. This is their cover of the Derek and the Dominoes album, featuring Trey Anastasio from Phish. It's a different color vinyl this time. I can't remember what color, but it's back in print for a short while because the others had gone out of print. Alphaville and a new reissue of kind of a greatest hits, Forever, the best of 40 years. This does feature a lot of their early hits, like Big in Japan and Forever Young. Sounds Like a Melody, Victory of Love. It has songs like Dance With Me. It does a symphonic version of that. It does have Flame, which is later, and I Die For You Today. Those are both much later songs, but it's a good sort of roundup of Alphaville if you're interested in that kind of 80s new wave stuff. Let me put these down real quick. They're getting heavy. Okay. See, I told you there was a lot. A great Four Tops reissue, a Four Tops self-titled album. This features Ask the Lonely, Without the One You Love, and Baby I Need Your Loving. This is original mono master from Elemental Recordings. They get all these Motown things, and they do a pretty good job. The original Motown records were pressed on really bad vinyl. Motown and Tamla and Gordy, they were all bad vinyl. I haven't heard one yet that I've really liked. Well, I can't say that. I suppose like by the time they got into the mid 70s, maybe like Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life is pretty good on Tamla, but yeah, a lot of the earlier ones, the 60s ones, were not. Marvin Gaye, When I'm Alone I Cry, and I don't think I've ever seen this album like pressed like an original. I'm sure they're out there, but this was a Tamla record too. This features I'll Be Around, You've Changed, I Was Telling Her About You, I've Grown Accustomed to Her Face, kind of a mix of standards and like sort of like ballad type stuff. But Marvin had a great voice. Another sort of great reissue here, Peter Tosh and his album Bush Doctor. You don't see this very often pressed anywhere. If you like reggae or Bob Marley and the Wailers and you want something else like that, Peter Tosh, pretty cool. Featuring Bush Doctor, produced by Peter and Robbie Shakespeare of Sly and Robbie fame. I can't remember. Robbie, I think, might have passed away. I'm not sure, but one of those guys did. Pretty sure. Anyway, TV on the Radio, new reissue of their album Desperate Youth, Bloodthirsty Babes. I think this might be one of the last ones from them that we were waiting to have reissued again. The 20th anniversary edition, limited to 2,500. 180 gram red 2LP gatefold jacket with color inner sleeves, includes 5 bonus tracks: Final Fantasy unreleased outtake, Staring at the Sun demo version, Dry Drunk Emperor digital only track, New Health Rock, and Modern Romance from the NHR single. So double vinyl for TV on the Radio. Another great band. Doesn't get near enough talk these days. They haven't done a record in a while though. Spoon and They Want My Soul. This album has been reissued a few times, and this is the deluxe edition, More Soul edition, 10th anniversary, double LP, second disc of unreleased demos, including the song One More Shot, unreleased song. Deluxe gatefold artwork. Pitchfork gave it a really good review when it came out. The best new music. I love this record. Spoon, like, I don't know what it is, but they keep growing on me even more and more. The more albums that they put out, the more I like them. So they've been around for a long time. Always, another great band that I sort of have really developed a fondness for. The 10th anniversary remastered edition featuring bonus track Underneath Us and a fold-out poster by Chan Van Galen. Cerulean in cloudy, clear vinyl. So color vinyl with sort of a blobby blotchy, and then a bonus track. This is the one with Archie Marry Me, which was kind of their popular sort of breakthrough single. More American, this is the American indie, Big Thief and Capacity. It's a reissue of this album, featuring Mythological Beauty and Shark Smile. A maroon color vinyl, limited edition of 1,500, includes digital download. And then there's also a reissue of Pierce the Veil, and this is their album Misadventures. Pierce the Veil, again, a band that's sort of gained popularity and notoriety over the years. This starts with Dive In, Texas is Forever, The Divine Zero, Floral and Fading, and Phantom Power and Ludicrous Speed. Sambuca, Song for Isabel. And there's a jazz reissue of Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad. And this is Jazz is Dead Volume 21 on colored vinyl. And this also features a bunch of collaborators here. I'm not going to pretend to pronounce their names, but you can freeze that if you want. But cool stuff there. All right. Let's see. There's some other things here that I got to show you. Told you guys, man, you got to be a weightlifter sometimes with this stuff. There were a series of 45s, Christmas themed, coming out. There's only one I think I'm missing so far, which is Beach Boys. If you want any of these, you're going to have to let me know, because I'm not going to be carrying these on a regular basis. These were sort of special ordered by somebody. But Ella Fitzgerald's Sleigh Ride, Brenda Lee's Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. These are all on color vinyl too. Chuck Berry's Run Rudolph Run, Burl Ives' Holly Jolly Christmas, and Frank Sinatra Jingle Bells and Silent Night. These were all Decca and I think Capitol recordings. They're just sort of like historical ones, Verve, but they're about $15 a piece. So like I said, I'm probably not going to have a lot of these hanging around the store, even at Christmas, because 45s are a tougher thing to sell sometimes. Some CDs that came out. Casey Chambers, her new album, Backbone. That's been a while for her. This one, I don't know why the vinyl hasn't shown up yet, but Jimmy Dale and the Flatlanders. And it's their album, All American Music. So pretty much the Flatlanders. This is most comprehensive collection of the original Flatlanders 1972 sessions. So I think Jimmy Dale Gilmore. New Mary J. Blige album called Gratitude. Have not seen a vinyl of that yet. And then I got about a dozen of these, and I don't know if there are people interested in these out there. They're supposedly very limited, but Pearl Jam did a series of live CDs from their recent tour. So all from 2020, 24, I believe. This one, so they're all different. This one's from Las Vegas, Nevada, May 18th, 2024. So this features, there are 2 CDs. Everyone is different because they change their set list a lot. This one features Yellow Ledbetter, Alive, Do the Evolution, I Won't Back Down, which I'm assuming is, I don't know, that's the Tom Petty cover. Spin the Black Circle, Better Man, let's see, Elderly Woman, Wreckage, Even Flow. You kind of get the idea. Given to Fly, of the Girl. So if you're interested, these run about $20 each. And like I said, there's like a dozen of them at least. So, all right. Okay, well, I wanted to mention a couple of things that are coming up and then do my quick mini review. Next week, the 22nd, there's a lot of stuff coming out. There's one thing you didn't see today was the Michael Kiwanuka, and that's because it got bumped a week, so it's coming out the 22nd. Father John Misty's new album, Opeth's new album, the Philly Christmas Volume 3, the one that Jason Kelsey does every year. This one, I think, features a bunch of Mount Joy collaboration, among other people. There's a few live records coming out from Black Pumas, My Morning Jacket, Chicago, Steve Earle, and McCoy Tyner and Joe, is it Joe Henderson? Can't remember who that is, actually. I think it's McCoy Tyner and Joe Henderson. And then Duke Pearson, that Blue Note gets bumped to next week. A couple other things, the delayed release of Smashing Pumpkins album, Black Star, the delayed release of that's been streaming for a long time now. That's the Black Star with, is it Talib Kweli. I'm trying to remember Mos Def, whatever the name he uses now. Killer Mike, his album. Kim Deal, if you're into sort of indie stuff. Eddie 9 Volt, if you're into blues. And then a couple of sort of, I guess, controversial ones. Zach Bryan, I don't know if he's going through some sort of like thing with his girlfriend right now or ex-girlfriend. And Marilyn Manson, back on the scene. Those two albums come out next week. And box sets. The Beatles box set comes out next week. That's the American albums, early mono. And those will also be available as separate records. So some of them. So you'll be able to get some of those like a la carte. Also, the U2 box set for the Atomic Bomb album, Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood box set, Simple Minds, The Sparkle in the Rain box set, and Miles Davis, the Prestige Years box set, which I think has four or five albums from like the mid 50s, like Workin' and geez, I can't remember all of them right now. But yeah, Miles Davis. Okay, and then the following week, 29th, is Black Friday, Record Store Day. So if you haven't gone to the Record Store Day website, recordstoreday.com, and look at the list and see what's coming out and make your plans, because we open at 8 a.m. on Black Friday, and always a lot of stuff. And there are a couple things I saw that were already getting allocated, which is always distressing when you order like 8 or 10 of something and they decide to send you two. So don't be don't be surprised if there are a couple things that you're really looking for that might have gotten cut. Now, hopefully, in those cases, they will actually show up later. Sometimes they do that where they're like first release or something like that. But all right, and then I have kind of a unique, or I suppose an odd, for some people where they're like, really, you like this? Recommend for this week. And I sort of, recently I was talking with a friend about this, and then they ended up buying it for me as a gift because I had gotten rid of my CD long ago. And I'm like, I kind of, now that time and space has gone by, I think I actually do like this, but it was sort of outside my normal listening usually, and that is Skinny Puppy, Too Dark Park. This is a very, what I would call disturbing and also very difficult to get into if you're not into this kind of music. Very like aggressive and sort of dark commentary on the world, on the environment, on politics, and it's not very what I would call melodic. It's not easy listening at all. The funny thing is that when I played this recently, I played this and Nat King Cole back to back, and so that just shows where my listening tastes go and how I'm sort of willing to kind of push genre sort of exclusivity aside in the sort of kind of being able to keep myself open to listening to things that I find interesting. Anyway, Kevin Key and Ogre mainly on this record, and what I think Dave Ogilvy too, and Dwayne Guttel. But Skinny Puppy, in the late 80s, they're like, if for those of you that don't know Skinny Puppy, they're an industrial group. And by industrial, I mean they use a lot of like heavy sampling, a lot of like in the sort of factory kind of sounds in the rhythms and the music. It's very distorted. Ogre sings in a way that you cannot understand a lot of what he's singing. There's not really melodic stuff going on at all much. It's very heavy and dense. Lots of samples from like TV shows, movies, news broadcasts, things that are, it's a very dense, layered kind of record. And they'd sort of kind of started off very like kind of, I don't want to say lightweight because they were never lightweight, but more sort of like kind of had a kind of pop sort of, or electronic pop sort of way of getting into it. And the more they developed through the 80s, the heavier they got, sort of like Ministry was that way. And in fact, the album before this, the one called Rabies, they did do an album collaboration with Ministry. And at that point, Skinny Puppy started to sound, they'd been always so unique, and they started to sound almost too much like Ministry, which was more pummeling and sort of guitar driven. So they kind of broke up for a little bit, and then they regrouped and decided, no, we're going to like follow what our vision was with this. And this is probably Skinny Puppy, what I would consider their darkest and maybe like heaviest album in a way, at least conceptually, and with the sound that they've sort of made here. It's really about like the structure of the sound, and you kind of have to play it loud to hear everything, and that could be disturbing for others in your life. So you either need to wear headphones or go to a sequestered room to do that. But the first song, Convulsion, right there, is just like really in your face, very like, here it is, and if you don't like it, you're gonna leave the room. Um, I sort of, when I discuss music like this, I'm like, well, this must be how people who like death metal and stuff like that, you know, with the people in their lives go, how can you listen to that or whatever. But Tormentor and Spasmolytic were the two singles from this. I say singles, I use that term lightly. They were singles, but you know, they weren't really getting radio airplay with an album like this. The first side ends with Nature's Revenge, which is kind of darker and slower. There's a lot of funky, like heavy bass on this album. And this is the kind of stuff that was very influential on like Nine Inch Nails and Trent Reznor. And in fact, Trent worked a little bit with members of this band on different projects like Pigface and stuff like that when they sort of got more into the later industrial era. Side two, You Turn It Over, because that's what you do with records. I have to say, I think the record sounds much better than the original CD did. The CD was okay, but sort of muddy in a way. This, I think, is sort of easier to hear stuff going on. Shoreline Poison, probably my favorite track on here. It's just very heavy and has some kind of like really edgy sort of drum parts. And from there, it sort of like goes a little bit more sort of like speedy, I suppose. Like Grave Wisdom is a little bit more dark and slow, but then TFWO is more like kind of like almost like a Cramps track or something. It's more rock, but it's not as like retro as say the Cramps. Morpheus Laughing, a very dark song, and then Reclamation, it just ends with this like buildup of noise that is just, it sounds like everything's collapsing, a black hole. And maybe I'm feeling this right now with the political scene. I don't know. But anyway, my recommend for this week, if you're brave enough to face Too Dark Park. This album, by the way, they'd reissued a lot of Skinny Puppy's albums a couple of years ago, and this one was not reissued. For some reason, it got held back for quite a while, and then it eventually showed up earlier this year, and it sold quite well. It sold better than the other albums, mainly, I think, because it had that sort of cachet of being a little bit harder to find, and also because the samples, I think it must have cost them a fair bit to either get them cleared or to at least, I don't know if it cost money, extra money, but to get them cleared, I think took extra time. Or whatever was going on there. So maybe it was an interband issue, but it's not a very long album. It's under 40 minutes long. Some of their other albums, like Vivisect, are much longer. But they did this, and then right after this album, they did Last Rites, which was a completely different kind of album. It was more guitar-y and slower. And after that, they left Network. They were one of the bands that helped make the label Network from Vancouver, Canada, into like a success. and even Sarah McLachlan did some work on Network when she started. Bill Lieb was a member for a little bit in Skinny Puppy, and he ended up doing Frontline Assembly and Delirium, so he's still out there doing stuff too. So there, all of these people kind of worked in circles with each other and tended to influence each other a lot. And by the time 1990 rolled around, I think that was the year this came out. Yeah, 90. They really had kind of taken things to almost as heavy as they could go. And it seemed like then, Nine Inch Nails did a good job of taking the heaviness and popularizing it for mass consumption. And then a little bit Marilyn Manson as well. But it was Trent Reznor was sort of the impetus there, I think. So anyway, there you go. There's industrial corner for the morning. So, what is it, Black November? I don't know. Thanks, guys, for joining me as usual. And I know that was a little bit out of the box. So it can't all be talk too. So, but have a great week. And we'll see you next week for another big release week. And Black Friday the week after. Peace. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves.